Alright, welcome back to the dual character challenge. This is Zelgatus. It's been a long time since I posted a video. I apologize for that. I'm sure you guys weren't really all that interested anyway. But we have 3 new video challenges for today. The first being use only vintage equipment, which is equipment straight from the beginning of the game. Your leather hats, your bucklers, what have you. The next challenge is dual goggles as your relics, which is of basically 0 value in any fight. It actually does have slightly more use in this fight, I suppose, because Ultros does use octopus ink, so I guess if you're not really keen on the sweet shades for your characters, then I guess the dual goggles would be a nice setup, I suppose. And finally, I'm already halfway through this fight. Finally, Magicite is required. You must use the Magicite item at least once. And if you'll notice here, I'm using stone instead of what I probably should have ended up using, which was step mine. I didn't get it because I didn't want to use Edgar or Realm or Gao since they weren't my characters, but honestly I don't think it really matters that much since we already said Gao can have another party member to get rages, so I don't know. Anyway, this battle unfortunately drags on and on and on, especially since I took the, I don't know, very conservative approach of trying to take Ultros down first. If I had been thinking, I would have, and enjoy that H-bomb, by the way, that's the only one I am ever going to get. If I had been a little bit smarter, I don't know, like I said, I wish I had gotten step. It's so repetitive. I do hope somebody out there has noticed that I actually have gotten better with doing these 7 flush attacks. Like, hey, that's pretty good, guys, right? That's awesome. Also, Pearl Wind I thought was pretty good use in this fight. I'm sure that somebody who had no interest in doing the challenges, or somebody who had a better character like Terra or Celis probably wouldn't really see much value in Pearl Wind, but I thought it would be one of Strago's selling points, and it's turned out to be kind of a liability, but I got the chance to use it here, so. By the way, I am exceedingly jealous of all of you people out there who have characters that do, like, reasonable damage. Like, these two are going to be absolute titans once they get to the World of Ruin. Strago has Grand Train and Setzer has his fixed dice offering set up. But God, before then, they're both just awful to try and use. Alright, we're kind of getting closer to the end of the fight here, and I actually forgot that I got a second H-bomb. It's really awesome, especially considering Strago just missed yet another stone attack. But one thing that I always kind of thought was missing from this game, sort of the story with Strago and Realm and Ultros, I was always kind of disappointed that there was never really more story developed there. I mean, there's actually something cool going on. I just, you know, I like Strago and Ultros a lot. I don't know, I guess I Well, I just wish I knew more about Well, I just wish I knew more about them. Well, I just wish I knew more about them. Well, I just wish I knew more about them.
Stragomagus, originally Stragonius Aloysius Magustine III, born the child of carnival workers. For father Barnabas Horatio Magustine and mother Stragonius Gertrude Magustine, Stragonius, the boy, not the mom, was the youngest of 23 children, his parents' only son and the only newborn this side of the Leet, sporting a dapper lip sweater. The Magustines lived in a one-room shanty in Thamasa, which was a very different place than the hermitage for rheumatic codgers it is today. Back then it was a Magi night ghetto wherein two shiny GPers fetch a plate of hot whistling schoonies and a tall glass of lemon goosey. Most of Stragonius' childhood consisted of performing makeovers on his older sisters and being a street urchin. 161 years ago, Stragonius, then only 5 years old, took to work in the asbestos mines at Evatt's Rock, filling up Old Cedar Sally, which was the name they gave to the chest what gabs on for a bloompire's age. To make matters worse, the mine foreman was nothing more than an old-fashioned snollygoster, whose flim-flammeries regularly included his digger's wages. Back at the Magustine homestead, all tarnation was kicking up like a sandstorm in sandhorse mating season. Stragonius insisted that he didn't want to become carny folk like his parents, and so, at the age of 6, he ran off to join the circus as fast as his rickets would carry him. Stragonius got his start in show business shoveling chocobo patties in the stables, although later moving up to animal handler, namely the handling of animals what croaked and needed to be tucked in for a dirt nap. There he remained for 2 years, where Stragonius came down with screwworm, rabies, and a nasty case of scribbles. It was while personally overseeing a routine clown dumping that the ringmaster himself, one Bertram P. Whifflebottom, first met the mustachioed tyke and took a shine to the boy's gumption for doing a man's work so well, though it could have just been that the boy's nose foliage plumb tamed the stench of death. He quickly promoted Stragonius to the position of basher, when he rapped beasties about their gobs and domes something fierce when they got a rankling and a kerfuffling. There, Strago spent his days mightily abusing animals, both caged and otherwise, and became a regular egghead in the ways of teasing beasties by parroting their jib. After 10 years of bashing for the circus, Stragonius finally got his moment in the spotlight, slinging lifting irons as Strongman Strago, and the name stuck. Strongman Strago was a mainstay of Bertram P. Whifflebottom's Roman hootenanny for years and years. At the height of his popularity in the Gawkin show, Strongman Strago caught the eye of a young talent scout. A short chinwag later, Strongman Strago traded the big top for the old Opry House, or as they called it in those days, the Croony Bin. With a powerful set of pipes honed by years of digging asbestos and shallow graves for steaming ripe animal corpses, the name Singin' Strago quickly found its way onto the lips of everyone from slubberdoffers and hussies to haberdashers and flappers. Who could have imagined that Stragonius Aloysius Magustine III would be making clams headlining a show in a building insulated by the very same asbestos he lost 3 toes mining so many years ago? Singin' Strago soon found himself paired with Prince Ultros Octopode, and everyone agreed. The duet was all wool and a yard wide. Every fortnight, Rakes and Betties ponied up golden Figaro pocket warmers by the fistful for the privilege of packing into the Croony Bin. Singin' Strago found himself making more money than he had ever seen, and spent it just as fast. When he wasn't swilling the giggle water, often in the company of high-class strumpets, Strago was taking expensive vacations to hunt the most dangerous prey of all. Whatever this thing is. It seemed the 10-legged tenors were riding high, but then it all came tumbling down. A night out hitting the gut warmer, Prince Ultros Octopode and Strago turned into an all-out argy-bargy when the former suggested that mustaches only belonged on filthy domin bohunks and villains in the talkie pictures. After that fateful night, things were never the same. A short time later, Prince Ultros struck out on his own to pursue a solo career. Without the prince's brassy tones and freakish appearance drawing crowds, the impresario had no choice but to cut Singin' Strago loose. And so, Strago was back on the streets, just another penniless rummy. It was while loitering outside a nearby speakeasy in the wee hours that Strago met a young whippersnapper known only as Clyde. The two ne'er-do-wells took to each other like bootleggers and moonshine, which, incidentally, became their business. For the moment, it seemed that Strago was back on top of the underworld, that is, under the alias Septic Tank Strago, so named for his favorite brewing contraption for a concoction he called Franzia. But things were about to take a turn for the worse. It wouldn't be the first time Clyde's itchy britches got them in trouble, but one night with this choice bit of calico would change their lives forever. They had a real flippity-gibbet on their hands. But all those years chewing dirt and disposing of corpses paid off, and everything seemed fine, until they discovered the hussy's ankle biter had followed them. To keep the little birdie from playing canary, Strago agreed to play the role of Pops to gain the girl's trust. As for Clyde, well, he kept right on bootlegging by night and visiting the tart soil pad every day, although he had to bump off his new partner Barham when he started sniffing around. And Stragonius? Well, some people say he carved out a pretty good life for himself, despite living like a recluse atwixt the geezers. Pawned off a fistful of muddy, blood-caked jewelry and bought himself some real nice diggins. Raised the little missy into a real heartbreaker. Nope, I don't reckon they make 'em like old Stragonius Aloysius Magazine III anymore.